to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Hello, dear friend. My name is Owen Thorne, and it's an honor to welcome you into this peaceful moment. As you settle in for the evening, perhaps in your favorite chair or tucked beneath soft blankets, you can feel your breathing slow and your thoughts become wonderfully light. Tonight, you're invited to drift away into a gentle story about the hush of an old harbour town at night. A place where the sea quietly whispers its mysteries and a steadfast lighthouse keeper guards a secret known only to the moon and the tide. Take a moment to notice how your body feels. Allow each breath to fill you with calm and exhale any lingering tension. Imagine a warm glow like a single candle flame flickering in the distance. With every inhale, that gentle light becomes a little clearer in your mind. With every exhale, you release a bit more of the day's weight, sinking into a restful state. In just a short while, you'll find yourself walking along a moonlit shore, where a lighthouse stands tall against the starry sky. For now, let your shoulders ease. Let your mind soften. Let your eyes grow heavy, yet open enough to glimpse this soothing seaside world that awaits. In the quiet coastal town, known simply as Old Harbour, the evening air always carried a slight tang of salt, and a hint of something mysterious. Tucked away from major roads and bustling ports, the narrow cobblestone streets wound their way through centuries-old buildings that leaned in a little closer each year, as though sharing secrets amongst themselves. Oil lanterns still burned in metal sconces set near the old wooden doors, casting gentle pools of golden light that danced on the stones underfoot. Just beyond the town's modest pier stood a tall, weather-worn lighthouse. It rose against the star-filled sky, its thick glass lens turning methodically, like the slow heartbeat of the sea. Seagulls slept in the shadows of the rooftops, their soft rustling wings a reminder of the day just past. Gentle waves lapped the shore, their hush mingling with the murmurs of the mild night breeze that carried the faint scent of drifting seaweed and damp sand. Each evening, after the last fishing boat returned to the docks and the final candlelit dinner concluded, the inhabitants of Old Harbour retreated to their warm beds. The streets fell silent, except for the measured footsteps of an elderly lighthouse keeper who emerged from a small cottage near the water's edge. This keeper, a figure of calm and patient devotion, had overseen the lighthouse for as long as anyone could remember. Dressed in a faded coat and a knitted cap, they made their way to the tower just as the moon rose. Under the moonlight, the keeper's presence felt almost ethereal. The locals spoke in hushed tones about a secret the keeper guarded, something hidden in the interplay of light and sea, something that lulled travellers into peace whenever the beam of the lighthouse touched upon their ships. Though many had guessed at the nature of this secret, none truly knew what it was. Some said it was a map to hidden treasure. Others whispered it might be an ancient maritime charm that blessed the harbour with quiet nights and gentle weather. Alone on the winding path leading to the tower, the keeper carried a small lantern and walked steadily past the dunes and salt-sculpted fences. The path was strewn with shells that glistened faintly under starlight, and a light breeze stirred the tall grasses that sprouted in sandy patches. The ocean itself seemed to hold its breath in reverence for what was about to unfold. Upon reaching the lighthouse door, a sturdy frame of weather-beaten oak, the keeper paused to listen. It was an unspoken ritual, this moment of stillness. In that silence, the sea murmured, the distant gulls slept, and the old bricks of the tower settled with a soft sigh. Then, with a gentle push, the keeper entered, lantern in hand. Inside, the walls were cool to the touch, and a spiral staircase twisted upward, lit only by the occasional window, revealing the moonlit ocean beyond. Each step upwards gave a subtle echo, as though the tower itself was humming a lullaby to the night. The keeper's duties were straightforward, but carried out with a reverence that made each action feel sacred. They inspected the vast lantern room, verifying that the great lamp turned in smooth rotations. This lamp, with its magnificent Fresnel lens, bent and magnified the light across the horizon, ensuring that any passing sailor would see its comforting beam. The gentle gleam sweeping across the water was constant, dependable, and silently reassuring. Yet, beneath this ordinary routine lay something more. Over the years, the keeper had perfected a serene method of attuning the lighthouse to the subtle rhythms of nature. Before lighting the final night's beam, the keeper would stand at the top of the spiral staircase and close their eyes. In the hush, they would hear the pulse of the waves, the gentle songs of invisible nocturnal birds, and the faint melody of wind through the rigging of silent ships at anchor. It was as though the lighthouse itself harmonized with the environment, weaving a protective aura around Old Harbour. Meanwhile, on that same night, a traveller arrived by a modest fishing boat. A merchant passing through, or perhaps a seeker of rare curiosities. No one truly knew. They stepped off the creaking wooden vessel, feet meeting the damp planks of the dock. Before them lay the slumbering town, lantern-lit windows like small golden eyes in the darkness. They breathed in the crisp sea air, feeling it settle in their lungs with a comforting weight. Though weary from their journey, the traveller felt compelled to wander, drawn by the silvery glow that pulsed from the lighthouse. Following the curve of the harbour, the traveller walked slowly, allowing the faint moonlight to guide their steps. Ahead, the tower's revolving beam swept over the water, painting gentle arcs on the black expanse of the sea. Each flash on the traveller's face brought with it a curious sense of calm, as if invisible threads of comfort were being woven into their thoughts. The gentle hush of waves against the shore seemed to whisper, "All is well, all is well." Unseen by the newcomer, the keeper worked atop the tower, adjusting the lamp's focus until each ray of light felt perfectly placed. Within that quiet chamber, dusty ledgers lined a simple wooden desk. Long columns of dates, times, and weather notes testified to years of unwavering dedication. Tucked carefully between some worn pages lay sheets of parchment covered in intricate drawings, swirling lines that seemed to chart more than just the coastline. These were charts of tides and star paths, meticulously recorded. Each drawing hinted at a conversation between sea and sky that only the keeper fully understood. Now and then, the keeper looked out the window, scanning the horizon. The ocean was a mirror for the moon, and in that silvery reflection, one could almost imagine shapes drifting beneath the surface, gliding smoothly in time with the current. The keeper smiled softly, remembering the folklore of gentle sea spirits, rumoured to dwell near Old Harbour. According to local tales, these spirits guided lost ships to safety whenever the lighthouse beam shone upon them, forging a connection that transcended the boundaries of ordinary sight. Down in the town, the narrow streets were still and hushed. The soft glow of the occasional lantern gave life to the shadows cast by old timber beams and the arcs of stone bridges. A curious cat or two roamed near silent doorways, pausing to glance up at the passing traveller with an air of secret knowledge. Here, the traveller sensed the weight of history in every old brick and shingle. Whispering breezes carried faint echoes of sailors' lullabies, once sung in taverns, now closed for the night. The traveller, feeling drawn further by the lighthouse's light, eventually reached the base of the tower. It loomed above, a guardian of stories and memories. The door at its base was crafted of thick wood, battered by countless storms. The traveller hesitated, uncertain if they should knock or simply admire the tower's majesty from outside. Before they could decide, the keeper appeared in the threshold, lantern held aloft, eyes warm with a quiet confidence. No words were exchanged at first. Instead, there was a gentle understanding in their gaze. The keeper gestured for the traveller to come inside, and together they climbed the winding steps, the steady rhythm of their feet echoing softly. Along the way, the keeper pointed out small windows looking upon the moonlit bay, the waves glimmering like scattered coins under the vast canopy of stars. With each step, the tower's curvature seemed to cradle them, like a protective arm around two souls making their way towards something profound. At last, they reached the lantern room, where the great lens cast its luminous sweep across the night. The traveller quietly marvelled at its majestic beauty, each polished prism reflecting tiny rainbows of light on the walls. The keeper nodded, silently acknowledging that awe, as though to say, "Yes, this is where the sea and sky join hands in the hush of darkness." Amid the gentle hum of turning gears, the traveller noticed a low wooden table by the curved glass. On it rested a journal, open to a page filled with delicate script and sketches of moon phases. There was a swirl of swirling lines around a single shape resembling a conch shell. The traveller's eyes lingered, curiosity quietly tugging at their heart. In that moment, the keeper placed a kind hand on the traveller's shoulder, then turned to a small chest hidden beneath the table. From within, they lifted a smooth, time-worn conch shell. The shell had an opalescent sheen, catching the lantern light in soft blues and greens. Placing it gently in the traveller's palm, the keeper guided them to hold it to their ear. At first, the traveller heard only a faint resonance, much like the distant sea. But then, as the keeper closed their own eyes in concentration, the traveller sensed a subtle melody, a flowing, gentle music that rose and fell in time with the lighthouse's slow rotation. The notes were so soft that they seemed barely there, yet they carried a mesmerizing comfort, a lullaby born of ocean currents and starlight. It was, in truth, the secret the keeper safeguarded, a quiet bond between the sea's hidden voice and the steady glow of the lighthouse. When merged, these two forces created an energy that soothed troubled hearts and guided lost souls. Over countless nights, the keeper had nurtured this intangible harmony, ensuring that the light shone not only with physical brilliance, but with a deeper, calming essence carried on the very air itself. The traveller felt the melody like a gentle tide, washing away the day's worries. Standing in that lantern room with the beam circling overhead, they closed their eyes and let the music carry them to a place of profound peace. In the hush of the night, it was easy to imagine drifting on the open sea, guided by a light that asked for nothing in return, only that hope be kept alive. Once the silent moment passed, the keeper took back the shell and placed it within the chest, as if tucking away a fragile treasure. A faint smile curved their lips, content that the lighthouse's secret had quietly blessed yet another weary soul. Through the tall windows, the sea glistened, the horizon a line of silver upon silver. For a while longer, the traveller remained in the lantern room, arms resting on the window ledge, gazing at the vast ocean. Down below, the rooftops of Old Harbour lay nestled in slumber, the gentle glow of an occasional lamp reflecting in puddles left by the high tide. Even the subtle cry of a distant night bird felt like part of the grand symphony of darkness. Eventually, the traveller and the keeper made their way down the spiral staircase. With each careful step, the echoes faded, replaced by the soft sigh of the sea that drifted in through the open door. Outside, the sand gleamed under the moonlight, and gentle waves caressed the shore in an unending lullaby. The traveller breathed deeply, carrying the afterglow of the shell's melody in their heart. As the keeper locked the sturdy door, they glanced at the traveller with a nod that conveyed a sense of unity, as if to say, "You have been part of this mystery tonight." Without speaking, they parted ways. The traveller followed a narrow path back toward the town, footsteps brushing through patches of dune grass. The night sky above sparkled with silent brilliance, each star seeming a whispered promise of safe passage and gentle rest. Moving slowly along the winding streets, the traveller felt the hush of Old Harbour embrace them. Familiar shapes of modest homes stood guard, flower boxes dozing until morning, tiny balconies waiting for dawn's first light. The air smelled of soft brine and faint chimney smoke, a blend that evoked feelings of belonging even for a newcomer. Shadows pooled against stone walls, and the traveller's own silhouette moved with the measured grace of someone at peace. Upon reaching the modest inn where they would stay the night, the traveller looked once more to the lighthouse. Its beams swept across the water with a patient rhythm, an unspoken farewell for the evening. The traveller exhaled a quiet sigh, a release of tension and worry. There, in that final gaze, it was evident why this place felt so special. The lighthouse, the keeper, and the sea worked in harmony to protect a tranquil existence. It was a mystery that needed no solution, a secret that sought only to comfort and guide. In a small room with a simple bed and a single window facing the harbour, the traveller finally lay down. Outside, the gentle hush of water against the docks rose and fell, Through the slightly open window, the traveller could hear a soft breeze carrying the faintest echo of the conch's lullaby. Each breath in was filled with the memory of that beautiful shell, of the moonlit tower, and of a keeper's watchful diligence. Time slowed, as though in deference to the comforting hush of night. Drifting on the edges of slumber, the traveller pictured the lantern room high above the sea, the gleaming Fresnel lens turning with measured grace. In that quiet, timeless space, the traveller's eyelids grew heavier, weighed down by gratitude and the melody that lingered in mind and heart. And out at sea, the beam of the lighthouse continued its unfaltering sweep. It touched distant waters, shining like a soft promise for any who might venture near. Guided by an unseen choir of wind and tide, it became more than just a beacon. It was a guardian of dreams, of stories whispered into sleeping ears, of hearts cradled by ancient ocean sighs. Here in Old Harbour, the nights were never lonely. The presence of that sturdy tower, with its gentle caretaker, cast a sense of belonging upon every pebble on the beach and every rooftop in town. It was said that those who found themselves in this harbour, whether by plan or by fate, would always leave carrying a piece of its hush within them. And so, with each new dawn, the lighthouse keeper's quiet devotion continued, weaving a story of comfort and mystery that resonated far beyond the shoreline. As the night pressed on, Old Harbour slept under a blanket of moonlight. Soft waves tapped at the docks, as if reminding the harbour's old wooden beams that one day the tide would come in with the dawn. Yet for now, all remained calm. The small houses seemed to breathe in unison. Even the gulls, perched high on the clay rooftops, waited in gentle repose. And high in the tower, the lamp turned steadily, devoted and unwavering. By the time the moon began to dip toward the horizon, the keeper had already completed their final checks, ensuring the mechanisms remained in perfect balance. The logs were updated with the night's conditions, a small note marking that the tide was unusually gentle, the night air especially still. No mention of the traveller or the shared hush appeared in the ledger. Such a moment needed no record. Instead, it lived in the silent understanding between the keeper, the sea, and any soul willing to listen. Dawn would come soon enough, with the gulls' cries echoing off whitewashed walls, and the scent of fresh bread drifting through narrow lanes. The harbour would awaken with the shuffle of fishermen and the distant bell of a morning church service. Yet before that gentle stirring began, Old Harbour held its breath in reverence, savouring a few final hours of the pure, starlit hush that had given solace to so many. And so the traveller slept, comforted by the lull of rolling waves while the keeper kept watch. Their secret, the intangible harmony of ocean song and guiding light, remained as steadfast as the stone tower itself. When morning finally arrived, a pale hue in the east signaled the end of darkness. But the memory of the night stayed tucked in the corners of the traveller's mind, like an ember waiting to be rekindled whenever peace was needed again. In Old Harbour, even the most fleeting of visitors could sense the lighthouse's silent invitation. Find your rest here, among the gentle tides, and carry this calm with you wherever you go. The promise of a guiding light in the darkness left each heart a little more at ease. For as long as waves continued to lap these shores, and stars continued to shine overhead, the keeper's secret would live on. And in that enduring hush, the sea would continue to sing, softly, quietly, like a lullaby meant for every weary soul who paused to listen. Night deepened around Old Harbour, cradling every home and cottage in a comforting stillness. The lighthouse lamp carried on in its smooth arc, a gentle guardian against the vast expanse of dark sea. Within the cottages, calm breaths rose and fell, dreams taking shape in the soft spaces of the mind. Beneath a sky blanketed in stars, the rhythm of waves became a steady mantra, each crest and ebb a soothing reminder of the world's quiet wonders. Street lanterns flickered lower, their golden glow diminishing until the hush became almost complete. Every tiny footstep of a night creature, every faint rustle of the breeze, played like a lullaby in harmony with the distant wash of tides. In that quiet hour, just before dawn, the world seemed hushed, resting gently in the knowledge that a new sunrise would come. The keeper stood by the window of the tower, gaze upon the moonlit sea, heart at peace. The harbour slept, safe in its protective cocoon of secrets and stories. And so ends this gentle tale, dear traveller. May its calm stay with you. May the rhythm of the waves lull your thoughts. May sleep bring you comfort and rest. Good night, dear traveller. Sleep well.